We are back. The Gemstone Cup podcast has returned. We've had a makeover, as you can see, and we have returned with the one and only Debby Cavill. For those of you that don't know Debbie, she's an industry veteran, has been in the industry for years, and was one of the original founders of Gemporia and has lots to do with the business. She is the mother of Cherry and Toby Cavill and is the spearhead for Cavill Co. And it's a really, really exciting podcast. So thank you very much for joining us. Let's get on with the episode. Hello and welcome to the Gems Uncut podcast. I'm Abigail and I'm joined today by the lovely Debbie. Thank you for joining me, Debbie.
It's a pleasure. It's nice to be here.
I know, I was just telling Debbie a minute ago that she is the first female that we've ever had on the podcast. Can you believe that?
I can't believe that.
For a jewellery company that's made by women for women. We've not had any women on the podcast.
I know. And funnily enough, I've just been talking about, obviously coming up is International Women's Day, and how the industry's changing actually with women. But to be the first, I'm honoured.
Thank you. Well, I'm very excited to have you here. Now, we've obviously had Toby on the podcast before, which is obviously your son, part of the Cavill Co machine, if you will. And one of the things that he told us about was his kind of entrance into the industry very much through you, seeing you and how you've been exploring. And your father as well was a diamond dealer. Is that correct?
That's correct. My dad was a diamond dealer. Oh, I mean, I was 9 when I drew my first design.
Wow.
So we're going back... 12 years now. My dad was a diamond dealer, and he was also an agent for lots of other jewellery. So I used to go to the shows, and but it was a very male-dominated industry then. Yeah. I'm glad to say there's a lot more women in it now, which is fantastic. But yes, Toby got in it through me, but it's been in our family for a long, long time.
Was it something that you always knew that you were going to do from 9 years old? You were like, this is my path?
I thought so, and then life takes you in a different pattern, as often is the way. And then obviously I came back to it about 30 years ago, just showing my age there. But yes, and it's been lovely for me. It's been great because actually a lot of things that are important to me are coming to fruition now, like sustainability and authenticity and ethical. Everything ethical within the business is starting to happen now, which is great to see.
Was it always something that you wanted maybe Toby and Cherry to dip their toes into, or was that a complete surprise as well? Because the last time we had Toby, he said that when he left school he wanted to be a scuba diving instructor.
He did, yes, bless him. Well, Toby came out to live with me in Thailand because I was there just before he went. Cherry was at university in the UK, so Cherry went off and actually ended up with a job with a banker in London, so she wasn't going to be involved at all. But Toby flew out to stay with me in Thailand. So Toby started at the bottom and got really involved in manufacturing, which was great. He had the experience of the factory for the bottom up situation, so it was really good exposure for Tobes, and of course with gemstones, anything manufacturing wise. And yeah, it's been a great upbringing for Tobes for that, because it's on a different scale from being here. You're almost on the ground really in Thailand, which was great for him.
Yeah, that's one thing that he said, is that he kind of learnt it from like start to finish.
Yes,
it's the Thailand effect, isn't it? Because it's everything there, isn't it?
Exactly, and he ended up being such an asset for me simply because I don't speak Thai. I was too busy doing my job, and I had translators, and it was great. But of course Toby can now speak fluent Thai, so he could translate everything and find out what was going on in every department. He learnt an awful lot there. And then Cherry I had to lure into the business, so she started off as a producer. So but she has just a natural flair for gemstones and pricing and value. She's very, very good at that.
You've almost got like a piece of all three of you, haven't you?
We have, really.
Yeah.
Between the three of us, because we're all so different.
Do you think from that moment when Tobe started to get interested, you were thinking, hang on here, this is where Cavill Co could build. I could see myself building this with the three of you.
Yeah, well, Cavill Co came later on, when I was working in a company. And although I was a shareholder in that company, I was a big part of that company, every other person's opinion also mattered. So, so consequently it would be, we want more emeralds, we want more of this, we want to do this, we want to deviate into doing more silver or doing more of this. Everybody had an opinion that I had to listen to and adhere to, whereas Cavill Co is entirely my drive, probably. And it's great to do that with Cherry and Tobes, but we can pick it up and drop it as we like, in the sense as there's no pressure. Whereas obviously when you've got a business and you're either publicly listed or you're a big business, you've got to keep your factory busy, you've got to keep everything online, and next. I don't have that. I buy gemstones that I want to buy. I design what I want. I cut what I want, and I do what I want. And same with Cherry and Tobes. There's no pressure.
Do you ever disagree between you?
Yes, we do. But we're so strong. The three of us. We've been. There's always been a very, very strong bond between the three of us. We call ourselves the Three Musketeers. Yeah. And again, different characters completely. And therefore, usually, depending on the subject, we know who's going to be the right one in that situation. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. You're
and in terms of gemstones, like your history is in tourmaline, is that right? That you're...
Since 2004, I had a big part to do with tourmaline because of Paraiba Tourmaline. Yeah. But also, it's my favourite gemstone. So I've got a lot of very, very, very good connections in tourmaline. Right. But then again, I have now, after doing it for so long, I've got connections in every gemstone, really. There's not a lot that I can't get. Not everything that I want to get, but there's not a lot I can't get. And the big thing about Cavill Co is provenance. I get it, or Toby gets it. We know where we're getting it from, and we know everything about that gem. And because our business starts with that gemstone, that's hugely important. So we're doing something that is probably very fashionable these days in terms of sustainability and knowing the provenance of your gems, but we've always known it. Yeah. Which is why our clients for Cavill Co is growing, because people know that this isn't a tick box exercise for us. This is something that we've always been aware of and conscious of.
And I suppose it's not something that you've had to adapt as times have changed. It was something that was always really important to you at the
beginning. Always important to me. Yeah. Always important. I had to know, because the gemstone world can be a bit Wild West. You've got to know where your gemstones are coming from. You can't just buy them on the street from somewhere. You've got to be ethical about it. And that's what I love about what Cavill Co does. We know it. We are literally mine to market, but it's about also knowing when to not go to a certain mine because the community aren't benefiting, or there's a lot more to it than that. So there are some places I won't go to.
So you spoke a little bit when we last saw you about compromise and how previously you've had to compromise on designs, on gemstone choices. What kind of did you have to compromise in the past, and what kind of changes have you made with Cavill Co that means that you can make your own decisions? You decide the gemstone, the design, everything from start to finish?
Right. Well, when I say compromise, it's compromise because you have to compromise as a business. Say, for example, here at Gemporia, if suddenly the price of gold is astronomical, and a board make a decision to say we're going to do a lot more silver than we did before, probably the people who are designing and making the jewellery aren't privy to that decision. So they go with that decision. Well, that's where I used to be. It used to be, well, we're going to have to make a business decision that means this, or we exclude that, or we go in that direction. I have none of those restrictions now. So I design the way I want and I buy what I want. And if I feel there aren't the value in the gemstones for a month or 6 weeks, then I don't buy. I'll say goodbye to tourmaline for 3 months if I have to, or rubies for 3 months. I'm not under no pressure that we've got to have rubies at any price. I'm not under that pressure. And there's enough rare gemstones that I can concentrate on because I'm only dealing with the best. If I can't get them, I can't get them. I'm not under any pressure.
And how does the sourcing work? Do people kind of approach you, or do you think, right, in this next collection, I'm in it with rubies at the moment, I'm in it with tourmalines, I'm going to search and go and find them, or both? Or
it's more opportunistic than that because I've got so many connections. I will be told of new things that are coming, new gemstones that are coming out, or a new find, or they might have found. Because 80% of what I'm doing is a more artisanal mining. So consequently, I might hear of something. So I'm far more opportunistic, and that's how I provide value. Because if I'm on a mission to buy rubies and the price of rubies is currently through the roof, I'm going to pay a lot more for them. But if I opportunistically find a really good deal with a high quality gemstone, that works. That works for me, and I'll make the most of that, and I always pass that saving on to the Gemporia customer. There's other lines of my work where I sell into Asia and the States, where I do have to do a certain amount of that, where they do want the rubies or they do want this, and I will find them, but they pay what they pay. It won't be the same pricing that Gemporia would get, because that would be my more opportunistic. But that creates huge value for money for Gemporia customers.
You spoke a little bit about artisanal mining. What would you say the benefits of that personally for the customer to kind of know that process, but also for you as a business?
For the customer, it's because it's small mining, so a lot of the big companies won't get involved with that. But also it's hearing about it early. So consequently, if I have an opportunity to buy rough, often I am investing in the future of that mine. So consequently, I can get a very, very good deal by investing to get that rough for the future. So by the time actually that mine is in proper production, it's 3 times the price that I've paid. And that's where the opportunity comes for me and for the customers, because I know what's good and what isn't good, or what's value and what isn't. Because often, if you want a nice big aquamarine that's clear and beautiful, Nigeria might be the place. But if you want something intensely blue, which will be a lot smaller but the same price, it could be Santa Maria. So I'm offering the customer choice and value. But what I find a lot of people understand is what they get with Cavill is tremendous value for money. And that's the big thing.
And quality. It's
quality. It's affordable luxury. I don't want to compromise on my design or my how they're made. The attention is in the detail, because it has to be, because the gems are so rare and so beautiful. It has to be there. There's no point cutting corners. Again, I have the time to do that. So, but then it's in the value, and this is what I love. It's affordable luxury.
Have you always been very high-end jewellery driven? I know you did a little bit of work with like red carpets in the States and things. Was that a kind of shift, or have you always been in the high-end kind of market?
High-end is where I've enjoyed being, because from a design perspective, from a production perspective and a business perspective, I've obviously done mass production. But from a design, if I'm focusing on that, then it's red carpet, because you're doing something so flamboyant that's got to be seen, that actually is not usually on a ready-to-wear basis. It's usually something that somebody's going to stand on a red carpet and it's got to be a big piece of jewellery or a big piece. So I love it from a design perspective, and that's how I got into the luxury market, really, because obviously I had the best gems, but then stylists were coming to me asking for pieces. Then I got commissioned on pieces for, can I own a piece personally? So I was very lucky, really. I've done really, really well in that respect. But for Cavill Co, it's very simple. It's all about the gemstones, less about the design. I may do some really outrageous design pieces going forward, but they're not as ready to wear. Whereas I want people to wear my jewellery every single day, and it's. If you went into a jewellery store and bought a Cavill Co piece, it's actually unaffordable for most people. So if like a store in America is selling one of my pieces for say $60,000 or whatever, a lot of people couldn't afford that. But if they for what they can afford, they're wearing something that's so much more. You know what I mean? And I love that. I love being able to do
paperware.
Paperware, and also people will look at that and go, you cannot get a ruby for that, or a Paraiba Tourmaline for that value. It looks so much more. So it's because it is so much more in a retail shop. So I like doing that.
I have to say, like, for me, red carpet jewellery, I just find it so exciting. Like, I know it seems for some people quite unattainable and not as realistic, but I like to just look at the amazing gemstones, the high carat weighting, the crazy designs that you don't see every day. Have you noticed any change over the last, say, 10 years, for example, on red carpets and red carpet jewellery?
Well, a lot of placebo. There's a lot of lab now.
Really?
Yeah, a lot
That's
of
interesting.
placebo. But I think that as well is as much security and I don't know, wearability. But I loved making red carpet jewellery simply because, for example, if I was making a big uh, band, the amount of gemstones to get that right, that are matched to perfection, that are high end. I know a lot of high end jewellers can't do that.
Yeah.
Because they can't get. Usually they have to compromise on quality, because if you're a high end jeweller that's got to supply 50 shops, you can't have one or the top 3 or the top 10%. You've got to come down to get that quantity so that your quality is consistent across every store. Well, that quality isn't what Cavill Co would ever make. We wouldn't go that low, which is quite bizarre considering I'm comparing Cavill Co to some of the most expensive brands in the world. So consequently, if I'm doing something that's huge with a lot of gems, I won't compromise on that quality. So I've got to find that quality and have it.
Are you the type of person that likes a challenge, Debbie? Do you think that's
yeah.
why?
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, I like a challenge. I want to
love a
make the most amazing piece.
Yes, exactly. And that's really what's where I've won. On the red carpet. That's certainly why I had so much success on the red carpet.
Yeah. Do you have a piece that stands out to you? Not necessarily your own, but maybe something that you might have seen, or it could be one of your own pieces.
Oh, that's a good question. I love my own Paraiba Tourmaline ring, I've got to be honest. That's probably my favourite piece and gets a lot of compliments. But there's still a lot of pieces that I've made for the red carpet that still stand out for me. I did a lovely piece for Julia Ormond, which was a massive, it flowed, and it was literally from here to there, and it literally had so much movement in it. It wasn't a bangle, it wasn't heavy, it wasn't rigid, and it was just beautiful.
Was it
that
gold?
was for Julia. Yeah, Julia Ormond, 18 karat gold and moonstone.
Wow.
And of course it caught the camera lighting, and it just moved with her. It was just beautiful.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
You spoke a little bit about changes in the industry through either red carpets. How do you think it's changed in terms of sustainability within the industry?
That's a really good question, because it's something I'm passionate about. But it is changing, but we're on the first rung of the ladder, really, and I don't want it to become a tick box exercise to be ethically sourced. I mean, mining, for example, ethically sourced mining. At the moment, there's probably about 1% in the world, that's all, where they're trying to bring
ethically sourced.
No, that can be proven.
Right.
In other words, they're trying to bring in like a blockchain traceability, which means that from the moment it comes out of the mine through to the cutter, it would have its own certificate, so you can see the authenticity of that gemstone. At the moment, there's nothing like that really around, but it's coming. But I don't want it to be a tick box exercise.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, this should have been, ethical sourcing should have been happening forever. But I don't think people care so much about where their gems have come from. And that isn't because it's the jeweller's fault, but a lot of jewellery companies will buy gems on a tray. They're not there at the mines. They're not seeing the effect it has on a community if you do buy ethically. But I'm hoping that comes more into the fore. And we are progressing slowly. There is a lot going on in the background.
So interesting for an industry that cares so much about place and location. So many gemstones are named after the place that they're found, but really, do we know enough about the specific location? Who's benefiting from it? Do you think it's changing quick enough, or
no?
We need to do more.
We need to do more, but blockchain is the best way to do that, because then it can't be forged, nothing can happen. So that is the best way. Some of the diamond companies have started to do that, but it's still less than 1%. But I think once they've really nailed it, it's being tested at the moment. I think once they nail it, it will happen quite quickly. But that's what I love about Cavill. People come to me because they trust that I do that anyway. And I think if you haven't done it anyway, it's going to be almost like something you're afraid of, because whoever is setting gemstones in jewellery anywhere in the world should know.
We spoke a little bit about lab grown. Do you think there's a place for them, and what's your personal opinion?
There probably is a place for them. I mean, they reckon by 2030, 50% of diamonds will be lab grown. I'm not so much in the diamond industry. I cut my own diamonds. I've got my own cutting for diamonds. So it is important to me. However, gemstones are my passion, and I think the provenance of a gemstone could never be replaced. You know, the fact that you've got a Burmese sapphire or a very rare Paraiba Tourmaline, it's not the same if it's made in a lab, and it will never be the same.
No.
So my view is, if you want to trinket, then lab is the way to go. You know, but there's something about wearing a genuine gemstone, and when you put it on your hand and you know that you have this connection to something that's millions of years old, there's something very special about that. And also in terms of value, the value of gemstones have gone up 20 to 30% in the last year or so. Why? Because of lab. So actually lab produced are forcing the price of genuine up. What does that mean for anybody that's ever bought a Cavill Co piece or invested in gemstones in the past? It's fantastic. But also, I think lab diamonds start, if you pay that for it, it's going one way. Or lab gemstones, there's no provenance. So they're not an investment. Whereas actually what Cavill Co produce is asset value. You're walking around with gold, which has reached an all-time high. I think it was $4,300 per ounce last October. It's crazy.
Last week was like record high growth, wasn't it? It was crazy.
It's mad. So you've got gold and one of the rarest gemstones on the planet that you've bought affordably. You can't go wrong.
Just quickly to nip into Paraiba Tourmaline a little bit, because it is such an interesting story as a gemstone. Would you say you were quite ahead of the curve in terms of finding that?
Oh, hugely.
I know Toby spoke before about Cavill Co customers have underpaid for Paraiba Tourmaline massively, and
huge.
The investment is just crazy. Can you tell us a little bit of an insight into that story?
Yes, I mean, I'm going back to 2004. I was involved before then, but in Mozambique.
Was that 20 odd years after it had been found only?
It was found in 1989 by Heitor Barbosa.
Right,
so in Brazil.
Years.
But the next big find was Mozambique.
Right.
And even now, Mozambique is sold as in Brazil. Biggest market for Mozambique, Paraiba Tourmaline, Brazil.
Really?
So when they found that mine, basically I was involved right there and then. And Musa Kanata bought 300 acres there, and we were involved. So consequently, I had the best Paraiba Tourmalines in the world back then. And they probably still are the finest. But I've continued since 2004 to be involved with that mine. So my connection can't be beaten, really.
No.
So no matter who's selling it or where it's been, no one can really beat that connection that I've had. I'm very, very lucky, because anybody that's getting it out of the mine, I know. So consequently, we've been very lucky as a family, and we do offer ridiculous value on it. And could we have sold higher prices on Gemporia than Gemporia? Absolutely. I've got demand from this all over the world, you know. But it's been a privilege to offer something that I know. There's at least 8 or 9 people that are Gemporia customers that are sitting on gemstones that they probably would have paid less than £3,000 or £4,000 for, that are worth hundreds.
That's crazy. A controversial question for you. Do you wish you'd have had some back? More back?
Oh, yeah.
Have you?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I've bought them back before.
Have you?
Yeah, I've bought pieces back where people have wanted to sell, and I've been very happy to take them off their hands. Yeah, I have done that.
Is there another gemstone that rivals Paraiba Tourmaline in your mind?
Well, that's a difficult question for a gem person. Because when we launched Gemporia back in the day, it was with alexandrite from Russia. Well, try and find me one piece of that at the moment, you know. So I've been very, very lucky over the years to have some very, very special gemstones. Paraiba I'm passionate about because I still have the connections and the ability to provide extremely good value, as I do with a lot of gemstones. But I mean, with what's gone on with tanzanite, with what's gone on with so many gemstones, it's hard to have a favourite. There isn't another Paraiba Tourmaline.
I feel like everybody I ask that question, they can't give me they can't say there's anything.
There can't be, because my relationship tends to be with the people, the location. So I'm very passionate about different people and different minds and different areas of the world where the stories are different. Paraiba Tourmaline is the story for Paraiba is it's the most expensive gemstone, or fastest price rising gemstone, and has been for the last 15 years on the planet, and continues to be so, and it's still a star of every show that you go to. But the history around Alexandrite, or the provenance around Burma and Myanmar, and getting these out of the most amazing location for gemstone in the world is the Magok Tract. So spinels and sapphires and rubies from there are just amazing. So same with Colombia for emeralds, you know, and Siberia for emeralds. So it's very hard to just
pinpoint like
say one, you know.
I'm going to ask you this question, you're going to say no, I can't tell you. What would you say is the Paraiba Tourmaline of today, or do you think there'll ever be a find like it or a gemstone like it again?
I'd like to think there would be. That's the wonderful experience about the gem world, isn't it? That what's coming next, what's happened, the stories around, you know, all of the different gems, including Zavarite, and look what happened to that and how that was found. I don't think Paraiba will take some beating. Yeah, it really will, because it's been the fastest price increasing gemstone for a very good reason, and that is, number one, its beauty, but also its rarity, how special it is, and how people fall in love that aren't gem people want a Paraiba Tourmaline. It's the most in demand gems, considering how often I wear gems. People always say, "Can you get me one of those?" And it's like,
no, I can't. Well, if we've learned anything from today, we know that if there is a new gemstone like Paraiba Tourmaline, you will be the first to know, Debbie. And hopefully us as well, we might be there. But this has been lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Gems Uncut podcast. If you like this one, we have so many more just like this from some amazing gem experts. Head over to the videos on my left.